My beloved child, do not look away just yet. Pause where you are, even if only for a heartbeat, because something has been moving toward this very moment long before you realized it. You may think you found these words by accident, but there are moments when what feels random is simply a door opening at the exact second your weary soul is ready to walk through it. There is a reason your eyes settled here instead of somewhere else. There is a reason your heart feels strangely restless even before you understand why. Listen carefully, because what you are about to hear was not written to entertain your curiosity alone. It was written to awaken something within you that has been asleep beneath disappointment. Hidden beneath silence, buried beneath questions you stopped asking because you feared no one was listening, you have whispered prayers that never reached another human ear. You have smiled while your spirit quietly carried storms that no one noticed. You learned how to survive days that felt impossible, and somewhere along the journey, you convinced yourself that surviving was the same as living. But I have seen every silent victory. I have counted every tear that never touched another shoulder. I have watched you fight battles so invisible that even those closest to you assumed you were fine, yet today is different. Today is not another ordinary moment drifting through an ordinary day. Something has shifted, you cannot see it yet, but you have already begun walking through a doorway your eyes cannot recognize. There was a gathering beyond your understanding. Voices you have never heard spoke your name with astonishing certainty. They did not speak with doubt. They did not hesitate. They did not question whether you were worthy enough, strong enough, faithful enough, or prepared enough. They simply looked toward heaven's throne, and they said yes. Those words echoed farther than you can imagine. They said yes, not because your life has been perfect, not because you never stumbled, not because you always believed. They said yes because there was something inside you that refused to completely surrender to darkness. Even when darkness seemed determined to consume every dream you carried, you thought your persistence was ordinary. It was not. You thought your endurance was invisible. It was not. You thought your smallest acts of kindness disappeared into empty air. They did not. Every quiet decision to keep loving after heartbreak, every choice to forgive when bitterness would have been easier, every morning you forced yourself to stand when your soul begged to stay hidden, everything was being witnessed. You have often wondered why certain doors closed without explanation. Sometimes you blamed yourself. Sometimes you blamed the world. Sometimes you blamed silence itself. You replayed conversations in your mind, searching for mistakes. You searched memories for answers that never arrived. You asked whether you were simply destined to remain overlooked while everyone else seemed to move forward, but there was another story unfolding beyond what your eyes could measure. Some doors were never meant to imprison you. They were meant to protect what had not yet fully grown inside you. Imagine placing a fragile seed beneath the weight of a mountain storm before its roots ever touched the earth. It would not become stronger. It would disappear. So there were moments when waiting became your shelter without your permission, delay became protection wearing unfamiliar clothing, silence became preparation speaking a language you did not yet understand. I know how often you begged for immediate answers. I heard every one. I also heard the prayers hidden underneath the prayers, the ones you never spoke aloud, the ones your heart whispered while your lips remained still. Please don't let this pain be meaningless. I don't know how much longer I can keep pretending I'm okay. If you are still here, please show me. Those prayers were never ignored, even when the sky appeared empty. Even when the night stretched endlessly, even when hope felt like something other people possessed but somehow skipped over your life, you were never forgotten, not once. There were moments when you believed everyone else had received their invitation while your name remained absent from every list. You watched people celebrate blessings while your own hands felt painfully empty. You congratulated others through smiles that quietly concealed disappointment. You wondered whether heaven had somehow overlooked your address. No, your story was unfolding according to timing larger than frustration could comprehend. There are songs that cannot begin with the loudest note. There are masterpieces that require shadows before light reveals their full beauty. There are destinies that can only emerge after identity survives seasons of misunderstanding, and there is something about your journey that required you to become unshakable before receiving what would have destroyed an earlier version of yourself. That truth has been difficult to accept. Sometimes growth feels suspiciously similar to abandonment. Sometimes preparation wears the disguise of loneliness. Sometimes transformation sounds exactly like silence. Yet while you questioned the stillness, something extraordinary continued unfolding behind it. Names were spoken, paths were redirected, unexpected hearts began changing. Conversations started that never included your presence. Decisions were made without your knowledge. Pieces began moving long before you noticed the board itself. You assumed nothing was happening because nothing was visible, but visibility has never been the measure of reality. The roots of the tallest trees remain hidden while they become strong enough to support what the world will eventually admire. The ocean carries powerful currents beneath calm surfaces. The stars continue burning even when daylight hides them from human eyes. Not everything real announces itself immediately, and neither will what is approaching your life. You have felt unusual emotions recently, haven't you? Moments when peace arrived without explanation, then suddenly uncertainty returned. Moments when you almost gave up, only to discover a strange strength appearing from nowhere. You called it coincidence, you called it mood, you called it luck. But what if those moments were gentle reminders that you were never walking alone? What if every unexpected surge of courage was evidence that something larger refused to let your story end where your fear wanted it to? There are people who underestimated you. You remember their words. Perhaps you pretend not to. But memory keeps certain wounds carefully preserved. You remember the opportunities denied, the relationships that ended without closure, the promises that dissolved into silence, the moments you questioned your own value because someone else failed to recognize it. Those experiences carve deep places inside your heart. Sometimes you still carry them into rooms where they no longer belong. Sometimes you expect rejection before anyone has spoken. Sometimes you prepare for disappointment before hope has time to breathe. You have become skilled at protecting yourself. But protection can quietly become imprisonment when fear begins decorating its own walls until they resemble safety. You were never created merely to survive inside invisible cages. You were created to remember who you were before fear introduced itself. That memory has been awakening slowly, Perhaps you have noticed it, perhaps not. There have been moments when your heart whispered, "There must be more than this." Those whispers did not originate from emptiness. They came because your spirit recognized movement before your mind could explain it. There are seasons when change first arrives as discomfort. Old patterns stop fitting, old conversations lose their meaning, old dreams begin transforming into unfamiliar desires. It feels confusing, it feels unsettling, but confusion often stands at the doorway of transformation. The caterpillar cannot explain the butterfly while it still crawls. The dawn cannot fully describe itself during midnight, yet both continue approaching regardless of who believes they are possible. You have been carrying questions you never shared, questions about purpose, questions about timing, questions about why your heart continues hoping after so many disappointments. The simplest answer would be that hope refuses to die because it was never sustained by circumstances alone. Something deeper has continued breathing beneath every setback, something older than fear, stronger than failure, quieter than panic, patient enough to wait until this exact moment. There is another truth you have sensed without fully understanding. Some people entered your life only long enough to reveal what still needed healing. You thought they were permanent. They were mirrors, painful mirrors, necessary mirrors, not because they defined your future, but because they exposed hidden places that still believed lies about your worth. Every betrayal challenged what you believed about love. Every disappointment challenged what you believed about yourself. Every ending forced one terrifying question into your heart: am I still valuable if this disappears? That question has followed you for longer than you admit, perhaps since childhood, perhaps since the first moment someone made you feel unseen, perhaps since the first dream that collapsed before it ever reached daylight. Yet here you remain, still breathing, still searching, still listening.